Hey babes, welcome or welcome back to and everything in between. I'm Victoria, your host and guide for navigating the beautiful chaos of your 20s. Whether you're building your dream career, figuring out relationships, or just trying to find you, this is your space for self-growth, real talk, and a little fun along the way. Let's dive into it and everything in between. At certain points in our lives, or even throughout points in the year, we may find ourselves lacking motivation or the willingness to get out of our day-to-day routine, even if it's making us feel stuck. I'm not necessarily talking about depression, but rather being in a period of stagnancy and just a lack of motivation to do the things that you actually want to do. We all go through points like this, and it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel when you know you want something in your life to change so that you can feel better, but you're overwhelmed either by work or family or just the state of the world. And that is completely fair. So in this episode, we're going to talk through this together, and I will share my own advice along with suggestions backed by actual research on how you can get your groove back. I personally have had days, weeks, even months where I'm coming home, I go straight to my room, and I have no want to do anything else besides lay in my bed. And I'm wondering to myself, like, what is going on? Why do I feel so down or so overwhelmed by the thought of doing things that make me feel good, like going to the gym or writing? And it kind of becomes a domino effect. One day turns into the next day, and then it turns into a week, and then it turns into 2 weeks. And you find yourself, or I found myself feeling like I'm aware that I'm in the cycle that I'm in, but I don't really know how to get out of it. This is a phenomenon that happens for a lot of people, and it's very common, especially during the winter months where our circadian rhythms are completely messed up because we're working while the sun is down, and it just makes you feel like it's bedtime as soon as you leave your job. Because of this, a chemical change in your brain can happen, leading to symptoms of depression. In the past, after feeling down for a week or two at a time, I needed to find ways to make myself feel better because what I was feeling wasn't normal, or it didn't feel normal to me, even though it is. It's something that a lot of people go through. After speaking with a professional, they literally told me that I needed more vitamin D, to try integrating something new into my routine, and even try light therapy. I remember in college, they would promote these sad lamps where you can pick it up for free and like rent it for a month at a time, and you plug it into the wall and just sit in front of it. You sit in front of it for I don't remember, like 10, 15, 20 minutes. And it's just a light. It's literally just a light that simulates sunlight and tricks your brain into thinking that you're receiving natural sunlight. And it literally makes you feel better. It has an effect on your brain that you are getting sunlight, that you are not stuck in a deep, dark tundra, which I was in college in Rochester, New York. And I know that I wasn't the only person feeling like that, especially I'd say in college when it was the winter time and workload on top of not seeing the sun, it would make you feel like you're just not in control of your life or even just your day because there's just not enough hours of sunlight. So it makes you feel like there aren't enough hours in the day to do the things that you need to do. So hopefully a lot of the recommendations that were provided to me will apply to you if you're going through a period of stagnancy or just feeling a lack of motivation in general. If the weather has nothing to do with your mood and you're just in a rut and have no motivation to pursue your art or go to work or go to events, here are 6 pieces of advice that I would like to share with you on how you can get your groove back. Number 1, take a second to revisit your goals and the why behind them. So for me, when I was feeling a lack of motivation, I was actually applying to graduate schools during the month of November, and I really had no internal motivation to. I have ADHD, so sitting in front of a computer and like typing out long essays, multiple essays, filling out applications, it is exhausting. And the thought of it alone is daunting. And just, it's something that I wanted to push off and push off and push off. And I got to a point where it was, I don't know, I was like a month away from one of my deadlines. And I was extremely stressed because I had pushed off my own personal timelines that I had set up for myself so that I wouldn't be in this position, all because I just didn't have the motivation because of this, I don't know, internal anxiety and like my attention wasn't there. My attention wasn't there. The motivation wasn't there. So it got to a point where I had to say to myself, like, Victoria, you know that you want to go to grad school because you need to pursue your purpose. You need to pursue your passion. I had to have a very long and direct conversation with myself to remind myself why I needed to get myself into it, snap myself back into it. And honestly, that little pep talk helped. It helped me to remember why I needed to do the things that I needed to do, because I wouldn't be thinking about that when the lack of motivation is just loud. It's just loud in my head, and I have other things to do, like watch Netflix or cuddle my dog. Like, that sounded more appealing at the time, but I needed the reminder to myself to get back into the groove. And honestly, it really helped. So I'm saying this as number 1 because you are the person who has goals. You have your own personal goals. You are accountable to yourself. So you need to remind yourself sometimes that the hard thing that you have to do is because you need to prove something to yourself and to accomplish something that will make you feel better, that will allow you to feel more fulfilled overall once you attain it, hopefully. So talk to yourself, revisit your goals and the why behind them. Number 2, once you remember your why, take the time to break down any tasks you might have into smaller, more manageable chunks. So I'm going to use myself as an example again. I had to write my statement of purpose. Okay, that sounds like an enormously big thing to do. Like, the goal or the action, the thing that I have to do, write the statement of purpose. How can you break that into smaller, more manageable chunks of action items that feel easier to do? For me, I started by telling myself that I would just write for 10 minutes every day. I would throw whatever prompts or just like brain dumping on a page for 10 minutes, and that is it. I know that I could find 10 minutes in my day after work to dedicate to just writing. And the collective 10 minutes of doing that task every day will eventually lead to a 1,000-word, perfectly written body of work that exemplifies everything that you are and want to be in the world. It definitely took a lot more than 10 minutes a day for me, but making it more manageable and setting small goals daily for yourself will allow you to feel like you actually can do the thing that you need to do. Number 3, practice self-care. I think when we're feeling unmotivated or stagnant at a point in our lives, it's really easy to fall into patterns of self-soothing or comfort that aren't positively benefiting you. So, for example, if you feel exhausted after a long day of work and you've just been working so much and you just feel like you need to give your brain a break from the work that you've been doing, and you come home and scroll on TikTok until you go to bed, that is not self-care. That is dopamine that is short term, and that will allow you to feel a little bit of stress relief. But it's important to do things that are actually benefiting your brain and your overall body so that you can be healthy in the long term. So self-care, I think for me, looks like exercising. Exercise is some form of self-care that you can do that will actually benefit your overall wellness. Something that I actually enjoy doing is running. I will run once a week, and that really will be my release of work, of stress, of family stuff, of just like everything that is building up. I will run for a long time, Saturday mornings, and just be. Another incredible form of self-care is sleep, okay? We don't talk about sleep enough for me. After eating well, sleep is the most important thing that you can do for yourself. Your brain needs it, your cells need it, your skin needs it. You can't function well if you're not sleeping. So take the time to take a nap, girl. Go to sleep, okay? Don't spend your time on social media or scrolling or doing things that are not beneficial to you. Go to bed on time, okay? Take the nap. You deserve it. Your body deserves it. Number 4, reward yourself for small accomplishments. I am big on treating yourself. I did say that I wasn't going to treat myself as much this year. It was something that I was going to be more conscious of because I will treat myself to whatever I want, and it's not good for my bank account because sometimes I don't need the things that I treat myself to, like ice cream, but it's really important to reward yourself when you accomplish things that you need to do. So for me, when I did submit my applications for grad school, girl, I treated myself to whatever I wanted. I went on a trip. I got new jewelry. I don't know. I did a lot. I celebrated with friends individually, and I deserved that. Like, that was a huge thing for me personally, but also like in my career and academic development. So I deserved that treat. But even the small goals leading up to it, like completing one essay, that deserves a reward, okay? If you are trying to get back into working out and you've just been in a rut, you haven't been able to work out, it just feels like a daunting task for you, and you're able to do it for a week consistently, reward yourself. You did that and you deserve a treat. Number 5, spend time with people that inspire you. I know that if I am ever feeling down, all I need to do is go on. My YouTube algorithm is very much inspiring, uplifting, motivational, positive affirmations, all of that stuff. So I am lucky enough that I can just go on YouTube, open up the app, click on some woman talking about, I don't know, anything, motivation, how to live your best life, get re-inspired by that. I also have incredibly inspiring people in my life who I love so dearly, but it's something of having a new outside voice telling me that I can do this, that I just need to get up, I am strong, I'm going to be successful. I am successful. Like having this random person tell me this, really, it helps and it works for me. So I would suggest this to you. Go on YouTube, literally type in like motivational speaker. I like to listen to women tell me that I'm incredible. So I will find a video and literally click on it, and it's everything that I need that will get me motivated to do that one thing or to keep going, honestly. Sometimes I'll even listen to these videos at work when I'm just feeling so exhausted, so tired, and I just need a boost that coffee or matcha can't give me. Lastly, consider what the underlying issue may be. So if you've been feeling down or stuck for a couple of weeks, could it be stress? Are you actually just burnt out? Do you need to talk to someone? It's really important that you are honest with yourself and able to reflect on your situation internally, because there might be something that is underlying that needs to be addressed so that you don't fall into this pattern again. Like I said earlier, you are the person who has to live with yourself. You are the person who owns your goals. So you have to be accountable to yourself. And if that means seeking professional help, if that means putting on a motivational video to get yourself to do the thing that you need to do, then you need to do it. Know that this period of time will not last forever, and you are not alone in going through it. I hope that the suggestions and brief stories in this episode have helped you and are a reminder that you are supported by people around you who love you so much. I love you. You got this. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this episode resonated with you or would be helpful for someone you know, please subscribe on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube and share it with a friend. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram at and.everything.inbetween for updates, and you can find me on Instagram at victoria.liverpool. This podcast is sound designed and edited by Misty Avenger. Music for this podcast is The Dude by Matt Large, courtesy of Epidemic Sound. Details provided in the description. Remember, episodes drop weekly on Sundays at 7 p.m. Until then, keep growing, glowing, and remember, you got this.